I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing while we mention those who have passed in recent weeks. Barbara J. Jordan. Colleen Ann Green. Marie R. Eck. Luis Alberto Abril. Daniel Ortiz Morales.
I'm sorry.
Roll call. Mr. Moschetta.
Here.
Paul? Here. Bill?
Here.
Thank you.
Here.
And we have a full board tonight. Fire exits are directly behind me. Don't use the elevator. Hard to see the building. Correspondence, I believe we have none. Is there any concerns?
None of it didn't discuss.
Petitions, anyone that's on Zoom or in the building, come up and state your name and listen to your concerns.
Good evening once again. Leonard Driscoll, Town of Wawarsing. How's everybody tonight?
Great.
Oh, that's good. So I want to direct this question to Supervisor. It goes back to when you were running for supervisor for a second term. And you put your accomplishments in the newspaper. Well, the first one I noticed was that you created the Wawarsing Water District. Unfortunately, that's not true. Under my administration, you were a councilman, and the water district was formed at that time. So I just want to straighten out the fact on that one because I would appreciate it that, I don't take credit for things that you do, and I don't want you to do the same. So with that, I'll move on. I guess what I want to do tonight is I want to ask the supervisor, what is the status of the 2 grants that I wrote and approved by Senator John Bonasek, 1 in 216 for $50,000, and the other one in 217 for $100,000. Could you give me a report on that, please?
Could you explain which grants they were?
Pardon?
You just said 2016 and some other date. What grants are you talking about?
2 grants.
Correct.
One was for $50,000 that was written in 2016 and approved by Senator Bonasek, who's now retired. And the other one, and I'll explain what the grants are all about to the newcomers. The other grant was written in 2017 by myself, sent up to the Senator's office, and it was approved for $100,000. Now, what I can do at this time, I can tell you the $50,000 grant, and you was on the board, was for electrical upgrade. Are you gentlemen downstairs in the basement, the new? Yeah, okay. So it was an electrical upgrade of the basement, et cetera, et cetera. I can remember when Ernie Bowen was on the board, he used to get out and fix the wires. And I thought that was necessary because of the fact that with all the computers that we have in the building, it's important that we have the right voltage. And also part of that grant was a generator. And also a separate part was an electric charging station. And we went through the process, like you guys know. We went through the workshop session, we discussed it. We advertised for the bidders for the electrical upgrade and the generator. And which was astonishing to me when I brought it upstairs, and you were one of the problems, that the board failed to approve the low bidder.
For what?
I just said that, for the electrical upgrade of the basement and the generator, okay?
What year was that? What year was that?
Pardon?
What year was that?
I didn't hear you.
What year was that?
I just said it 3 times. The year was 2016, Jerry.
Okay.
You were on the board.
All right, so we're talking 6 years ago, okay.
Doesn't matter.
Well,
And when we were lucky, had a motion and a second to pass the electric charging station. And you voted against that.
that's,
And it's now established in Milton Park, which everybody thinks it's a great idea. So that was that. Just bringing it now, in 2017, the grant was written for $100,000, proposed lighting and cameras at the water filtration plant. And I see Bill's looking, where we had $8,000 in vandalism. So I felt that was necessary because that protects the water supply for the Hamlet and Apponaug, Ellenville Hospital, in ShopRite Plaza. And it's an area which can't be seen from 55, as Terry knows and Tony knows. And we had a lot of damage up there. And the other one was for the same thing, but it was another, same part of the grant was for the same thing for Linden Park. Poles, lighting, and cameras, okay? Because we had vandalism down there. The problem is that after I left office in 2017, it was too late for me to work on the $100,000 grant. 4 years, you were supervising, and no action. Well, I like to have an explanation because it's not about me. I wrote the grant. The money is for the town of Wawarsing. Now, what is the status? Where do we stand on that, Terry?
well, let me correct you on the fact that you wrote the grant. Supervisors don't write grants. Grant writer writes the grant. You sign for it, you approve it, the board approves it. So to make the, the image or the projection that you wrote it is highly unlikely.
That is not, that's incorrect. Because I
And
did.
so, again, I'm not gonna go back to 6 years ago and talk about why I voted against a charging station, but for your edification, what I will say is in my recollection, I did, and it hadn't been used for probably 2 or 3 years, maybe longer, because I was the administrator of that after you left office, and we have records of how often it was being used. And I didn't think it was a good choice of funding at that time, so I feel very comfortable with doing it. When we're talking about this $100,000 grant, what we'll do is, because these things have from 4 years ago, I'm not going to give you a comment that could be inaccurate, and we'll look that up and tell you what that status is, and I'll report back to you on that.
That's fine. But first of all, for the record, you guys can go back and look at that motion. We voted no on it. I'm just telling you, I don't, I try to,
On what motion?
but anyway, that's enough of that. And I've been in touch with Senator Mestrica's office on that when she was there, and also Senator Martucci's office. And they haven't heard from you at all on this grant money. Now, this money doesn't come here. It stays in Albany. There's a process you go through, and it's $100,000, Terry, to protect the water system in Napanock, Ellenville Hospital, and ShopRite. That's not chump change.
All right, so we'll get to the actual documentation and then we'll match.
Well, I would appreciate it, I mean,
Then we'll match with what you're saying,
it's
okay?
been a long time, but, if the money is still available, we don't even know. Okay. So that was that. The other thing is that, I just want to talk about the Wawarsing Water District for a few minutes. I want to applaud you guys for moving forward on that and helping the town of Wawarsing residents. But a lot of people do not know what has happened down there. As you know, I was the supervisor when Irene Lee came through and more or less raised havoc in the town of Wawarsing. But I'd like to go back a little bit further and say that maybe Mr. Brown knows, he was there, but not really, he lived on Deer Park Lane. But over the years, even when I was a councilman, we get a heavy rainstorm, and the fire whistle would go off in Apponaug, and people would come down, and they would have to pump the basements out of people's basements. This went on for quite some time. And then Irene and Lee came through, and again, I was a supervisor, and the phone was ringing off the hook because of the basements being flooded. But little did they know that for all these years, we're going back 20 years, that nobody was informed that the actual tunnel was the cause of the problem. Okay? And so now we finally got $22 million, which DEP is paying for. But I felt that wasn't enough because we had to take 40 houses off of that area and we lost all that tax revenue. And you can't blame any town board for that because it wasn't our fault. But the fact is that the thing that I was discussing with DEP in 2017 was that I felt that you should pay for the sewer line because you were responsible for the problem and you never told anybody until the day that Irene and Lee came through, when I was informed by the deputy commissioner that this was our water from the leaking tunnel. We had a lot of meetings, supervisor for 6 years and had plenty of meetings. Terry, who attended some of them, we talked to engineers and stuff like that. And they finally admitted that it was their fault. So my discussions were, listen, I never heard of a community putting in just a water line when we have water and sewer in Elba, water and sewer in Apponaug, and water and sewer in Carnarvon. So we've done piecework. They should have paid for that sewer line. Because at some point, you're going to ask the Wawarsing residents to come up with some money or through a grant to put a sewer line in. We could have put it in at the same time and had DEP pay for that. So it didn't materialize. I left office. It's obvious that you didn't continue the discussions with, Ira Stern and Bill Richardson and the Assistant Commissioner Paul Rush. So that went by the wayside. Unfortunately, it's their fault, and what are you going to do? The other problem that, a lot of reports on that tunnel. And as you remember, they kept talking about the spider cracks that was inside the wall where they sent the submarines down there and checked it. But that's not the problem with that tunnel. The biggest problem is on the outside of the tunnel, and this has been told to me by engineers, where the limestone is eating away at the outside wall of the tunnel. So in those discussions, I asked, Paul Rush, that why not just put a bypass in and eliminate that old structure? And they refused to do that. Now, we're going to put a liner in there and we hope it's going to work. And if it doesn't, the tunnel is still going to leak. And the last issue on that topic is, I know you gentlemen, Bill and Mike haven't been down there, but there is sinkholes, even to this day, down in that area. And that is concerning because the tunnel goes underneath of the state highway. I don't know what's causing that, but it's something that the board has to consider and look that over and see if these sinkholes are getting bigger. The tunnel is 700 feet down. So that could be an issue down the road for whoever's on the town board to look into. But the last thing I want to discuss is, being that we have 2 new members on the town board, is the thing that's been annoying with me for a long time, and that's this peddler's permit. And there's 2 businesses that You have a guy that sells hot dogs on Route 52. And of course, I sell the Christmas trees, right? And we have to pay $150 for a peddler's permit. For lifetime residents, we pay a lot of taxes in the community. And when I sold the trees in the village prorated it. And I paid $25. And I brought this up for discussion before you gentlemen we got here. That, you know, $50 would be fair. And for the guy that sells, it's definitely fair because I only sell trees for 18 days. And I'm at the end of the year. I'm paying $150 for 18 days. And this law has to be prorated. The gentleman that sells hot dogs for 3 months is paying $150, and he should be paying at most $75 for his permit. We're not outside people. We're not coming in and requesting. Now, I had this thing for discussion downstairs in the workshop. I brought it up, and nobody would act on it. So I don't think that's fair either. And especially for a resident. If somebody's coming in from the outside to sell their wares, I can see that. But for people that have lived here all their life and pay a lot of taxes, and it's not about me, it's just about the law. The village charges $25 and the town charges $150 for 18 days. Not right? We're all in the town of Wawarsing, and we've got to be fair to the people, and we're not being fair. So I wish the two new members would look into that. And you can go, Mike, if you live in the village, check what the village has, and maybe come back and come up with a solution to that. And then we'll go from there. All right, gentlemen, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone on Zoom that is interested in petitioning the board? Anyone? Nope. See no one in the audience that wants to speak. We'll start our agenda. Town board to rescind the resolution passed on December 30th, 2021 workshop meeting designating all town employees as essential to the operation of the town during public health emergency and to provide a one-time non-precedent setting premium pay bonus to the town of Wawarsing employees.
Second.
Makes a motion, Bill seconds it, that's actually all in favor?
Aye.
The motion's carried. Next page, first resolution of 4. The roll call vote. The Wawarsing Town Board by resolution designates all town employees that are essential to the operation of the town during the public health emergency and to provide a one-time non-precedent setting premium bonus to the town of Wawarsing employees. The only difference between the one on December 31st is the value of 55 cents versus 70, and it is 70 cents.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
So that's Paul making the motion, Bill Brown seconding it. Roll call vote. Mr. Michelle.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
Kathy.
Aye.
And I vote aye. The resolution is carried. Resolution. The Town Board of Wawarsing by resolution authorizes the execution for the solicitation for a request for proposal of the Wawarsing Water District Individual Service Connections. 209 General Construction identified as WWD bid 08.
I'll move it.
And I'll second it.
Nancy makes a motion, Paul seconds it, so roll call vote. Mike?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That resolution is carried. You want to discuss it for a second, Kathy?
Well, it's very exciting because once this bid process comes back, and goes out, comes back and the open bid and award, these will be going on people's properties and you've signed your licenses and getting your water connected. So this is really the light at the end of the tunnel. It's very exciting.
Thank you, Kathy. Third resolution is by resolution authorizes the acceptance of the bids for construction of the Wawarsing Water District Local Road Water Distribution Mains, Contract 3, WWD bid number 10 and authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with H. Ulsterhout Excavation in the amount of $737,067.
I'll make it.
Second.
That's Paul makes the motion and Mike seconds it. That's a roll call vote. Mike?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Cassie?
Aye.
I vote aye. That resolution is carried.
We're gonna hold the next one here. So, okay.
All right, if anyone's looking on the agenda, this next one is being carried over until a Monday workshop for further review. Budget modifications.
Yes. We do. Okay.
Copy of it? Kathy's on it.
Oh, good. I don't know. It's in there. I probably buried it. Okay.
All right, so the budget modification we have is the Napa Sewer, SS1, increase expense code 8,110.2 SS1, Napa Sewer equipment, $68,571. Increase appropriated fund balance, 599 SS1 for $68,571. Modification is to cover the expenses of invoice number C006881, 2019 Dodge Ram 5500 4x4 with dump body for the Napa Sewer District. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Paul makes the motion and Bill seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is carried. Town board to approve bills as audited.
I'll do it.
Second.
Nancy makes a motion and Bill seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is carried. Town board to approve the assessor department report for December, the building department report for December, justice court, highway department, town clerk's report, youth commission report, dog control officer, supervisor's report, and the annual report for the justice court.
I'll move 3 through 11. Second.
Bill Brown makes the motion to pass 3 to 11. Mike Machetta seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Those motions are carried. 12, town board to approve the 2021 annual report for the building department, planning board, and zoning board of appeals.
So moved.
Mike makes the motion.
I'll second it.
All seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Town board to approve the expense for the following planning board members to attend the Associations of Towns Conference from February 20th to the 23rd. That's actually on Zoom. It's not in person. So we are scheduling the Zoom meetings and times, and we'll get these 5 members of the planning board their time and dates for the specific classes that they're going to be taking. So, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Bill Brown makes a motion, Mike Machetta seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Town board authorized the town clerk to advertise for the position of water wastewater maintenance worker at the water sewer treatment plant. This is a full-time position, 40 hours a week. Salary is based on the union contract. Applications are due back to the town clerk's office by noon on Thursday, February 10th, 2022.
I'll move it.
Nancy makes the motion.
Second.
Mike seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion's carried. Town board to authorize the recreation director to advertise for the following positions for the Ellenville Wawarsing Youth Commission 2022 summer employment.
I'll move it.
Second.
Nancy makes a motion. Bill Brown seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to authorize the municipal bookkeeper to close the town of Wawarsing Part B, Part-Town B Fund checking account at M&T Bank.
Move it.
Nancy makes a motion. Mike seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board authorized the municipal bookkeeper to open a checking account at M&T Bank for the town of Wawarsing Part-Town B Fund.
So moved. Second.
Bill makes a motion. Mike seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. town board to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement for the Ulster County SPCA to accept any dog brought to the shelter by our dog control officer, Jill Schilfelt, space permitting. The term of this contract will be from January 1st and ending in December 31st, 2022. Okay, thanks the motion. Cassie seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is carried. Town board to approve the payment of 200 hours of remaining vacation hours credited to Devlin Walsh for the calendar year of 2021 as January 1st, 2021. That should be 22, right? Calendar year of 2021, as of January 1st, 2021, correct. His hourly rate of pay was $27.45, totaling amount of $5,490.
I'll make the motion.
Paul makes the motion.
Second.
Cassie seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Town board to accept the proposals for an independent fee estimate for taxiway A, North Rehabilitation and Connector, design and bidding services at the Joseph Y. Resnick Airport from the following companies: CNS Companies, $1,250, MRB Group, $2,300.
I'll make that.
Paul makes the motion.
Second.
Bill seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion's carried. Town board to authorize the supervisor to sign the proposal from CNS Companies in the amount of $1,250 to perform an independent fee estimate for the taxiway A, North Rehabilitation and Connector, design and bidding services at Joseph Y. Resnick.
I'll make it.
Second.
Paul makes a motion. Mike seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion's carried. Town board to approve payment application number 1 in the amount of $206,959.88 to Ray S. Pantel, Inc. for the Wawarsing Water District Water Treatment Facility and Wellfield Electrical.
Move it.
Second.
Cassie makes a motion. Mike seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion is carried. Town board to approve invoice number 44796 in the amount of $90,200 to ClearSpan for the salt shed at the town of Wawarsing Highway Barn.
So moved. Second.
Bill Brown makes a motion. Mike seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to authorize the supervisor to execute the proposal submitted by Blower Associates to perform administrative services for the town of Wawarsing for the Carrongston Sewer Plant Sludge Dewatering System, CDBG Project 121 5 PR 83-21.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Cassie makes a motion. Paul seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to approve the release of remaining money that is being held in escrow in the amount of $1,490 from the Elliott/Lee 2-lot subdivision. This is per the recommendation of the town of Wawarsing Planning Board.
So moved.
Second.
Bill Brown makes the motion. Paul seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Mr. Hayes has highway concerns.
Nothing tonight.
Good job with the weather.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Tom, thank you.
Have the employees of the highway department and the water and sewer that went out there and our maintenance guy for stepping it up with a foot of snow, and we appreciate that. Bill Brown?
Some board members toured the highway department garage during the week, and we need to move on replacing the highway garage and updating the existing garage as conditions there are deteriorating in a hurry. And we have a lot of expensive equipment that's sitting out in the weather. Cassie and I are going to be meeting with Sam with the Youth Commission in the next week or so. And we'll be meeting with, I believe, the village and
Well, we have a pool meeting we have to get set up, but, so we can come up with a conclusion, yes.
And we're supposed to meet this evening with the village, but they canceled yesterday, so we'll try to reschedule that.
Okay. Mike Machado?
I spoke to, first of all, I want to say, Tony, great job on the roads with the foot of snow. Guys did a phenomenal job there. Everybody else that was out there cleaning up, I know it wasn't the easy feat to do, but guys did a great job. Touch a little more on what Bill said about the town of Wawarsing garage. I did get the nickel tour in place. I was down there with Terry looking around. There are a lot of concerns at the highway garage. Some stuff that's been probably thrown on the back burner for way too many years. Been putting Band-Aids on very large cuts, and we're at that point right now where there's no more trying to fix up the problems that are down there. We have to really look forward and act on taking care of the situation that's down there. I spoke, myself and Terry spoke with Alex Hammond today, who's the engineer that was down doing an inspection on the garage in the past. And I voiced my concerns to him, and he was on board with the same concerns. He is planning to come down here next Wednesday to sit down with us again to go over his concerns, my list of concerns, Terry's list of concerns, I'm sure Bill Brown's list of concerns, and to move forward on trying to take care of the problem. As Bill said, there is equipment outside. We have trucks that we don't have places to house them. We've outgrown what's there. It is winter time now. Everybody knows that diesel vehicles, they can be plugged in. You're running extension cords across wet, icy ground. Roof is leaking badly in numerous places. I called it a column today because that's how many holes I was actually able to see there. There are things that really need to be taken care of to get that place up to snuff, I'll say. Once we meet with the engineer, then we discuss my findings, his findings, I'll give more of a report on it. As far as emergency services go, we have a couple of AEDs that are sitting downstairs in the supervisor's office. I have Steve Grunt, who is the chief paramedic for the Elm Rescue Squad, coming in next Tuesday to do an inspection on them, make sure that they are in working order, pads are correct, and everything is there that we need. And if so, we will have them mounted. There is a box downstairs above the copy machine, but the box is too small to house the AED. So we're going to talk to Mike about building the box so we can mount it to the wall and get the proper signage.
Want to explain what an AED is for folks who don't know?
Basically, if the person's having a heart attack, it is the pads that you see put on the person. It's not the old thing on TV. It's shock. It doesn't work that way. A lot of people are afraid of them. Myself, from being emergency services, there's really nothing to be afraid of. You can't hurt anybody until the person is shocked. If you go down and you put the pads on, you push the button. It's pretty much self-explanatory. You open it up, it tells you what to do. It tells you where to place the pad. You can actually see it. If you don't have a rhythm that can be shocked, you can push that button all day long. It's never going to send a shock through the machine. Where somebody can get hurt is if that person does have to get shocked. When somebody's touching them, they'll also be shocked. So you have to, as far as that goes, we'll have some training on how to use the equipment, and also everybody that's in the building will know where it's at. So that'll happen. The inspection will happen next Tuesday, and once we get them to the point where they can be used, we'll have them mounted in the correct places. As far as that, that's all I had this evening.
Okay.
Sam is I was going to be advertising for summer workers, and I encourage our youth to sign up and work with her. It's a real learning experience on many levels. I think camp registration, she's going to set up the site for sometime next month, but that's more to follow out of that. I'll have more specifics on that soon. I know that Terry is going to help us facilitate a meeting with the school and the village about the pool. We can come up with a solution for that so that we can give our campers the best experience this summer possible. Wawarsing Water District will be bidding out the connection, the actual house connections, very soon. That's going out to be advertised for that. If you are going to be, I think I have working phone numbers for everybody who's given me a temporary license to go on their property to connect their water. If you change your number or you haven't given us a working phone number, if you could reach out to us here at Town Hall, that'd be fantastic, because we're going to be trying to notify you and give you a heads up. Hey, we're going to be on your street this week, and maybe on this Tuesday or next Thursday of this month, we're going to be actually hooking your house up. So we need working phone numbers to do that. Also look in your mail, because we will still be sending out postcards and letters, but we're looking at doing texts and phone calls to people that hey, we're coming, we're within a few weeks or a week or whatever. As they start doing lateral roads though, guys, if you are on a narrow road, and we'll try and give you a heads up that the crews are going to be on your road, and they're going to be either Deer Run Road is currently scheduled to be an open cut, so that could be challenging for crews. I'm trying to get dates for when they're going to be on Deer Run, because if they open cut that road, it's going to be really problematic for the people. So as soon as I have more information on that, I'll get it out as soon as I can.
We're ready for it.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I bet you are.
And I want to thank the Accord Fire and Carhonson Fire, who managed a very bad accident that could have been a whole lot worse over the weekend. The crews came together and they kept the propane tank from exploding, and that is fantastic. And I always love to see our shared municipal working relationships work the way they're supposed to. So thank you to those two districts who came out and prevented that situation. Thanks to my water guys who came out in the middle of the night to try and make sure they had the water they needed to suppress the propane fumes. It really was a team effort out there this weekend, and I super appreciate it. And Tony made sure the guys could get where they needed to be by keeping the roads cleared. So teamwork, thank you very much. I am always for cooperation whenever possible, and so I echo Mr. Brown's that I can't wait for the village to come and sit with us so we can chat about our common interests. So, Terry, that's all I have to do.
Yeah, the propane tank at Dollar General was an accident that happened over the weekend, and I ended up calling Chief Steve Stevens, did a great job, and all the other units that reported there, they did as well. The water department did a great job, like Cassie said, and Steve put me in touch with AmeriGas from Fallsburg to put a temporary propane tank. Oh, okay.
But you can go again.
No, I'll just make that note, and then and then I'll do the rest of mine.
I don't have too much to say anyway, so that's okay.
I'm not sure about that. Just talking about blood.
So what you got, Paul?
Are we done?
For now.
Not pause.
How about boys?
You're on pause? Okay, my turn. Just one thing, actually a couple things. First one is we've got a couple meetings next week for looking in further detail and coming up with a proposal and plan for Wi-Fi at Littman Park, and also looking into extending some broadband via some new solutions in some of the local areas. So I'm excited to be meeting with a company that we've been working with and discussing the solution opportunities that exist, and hopefully should have some things back to the board and to the residents after that to see where we might go with that. I think it's pretty exciting also too to see what we're doing with the Wawarsing Water District. As Cassie mentioned before, the fact that we're bringing the lines to the homes very shortly with the bids that are out there. I know there's a couple residents in particular who have been at their homes in the past where they've got methane coming out of their sink, that they would sure love to have that Wawarsing Water District online. So it continues to be exciting to see that that's moving forward in a good way. Other than that, that's what I've got for today.
Okay, and you discussed the airport before?
Didn't say anything about the airport right now. You know, we talked with Mr. Coombs by Coombs about the airport earlier today, and we're looking at, again, I mentioned at the last board meeting, that we're looking at doing things to make the airport more visible, more accessible, from a standpoint of people that are outside, but also when pilots come in. We had some suggestions from Dwight this afternoon at our workshop meeting that I'm going to pursue as far as making it an opportunity for the pilots to come into the airport to know more about what's going on in the town and allow us to, hopefully generate some more revenue for local businesses in the town. So that's something that came up today at the workshop, and I think it's a great idea, and I plan to move forward on that very quickly. And that's it.
Okay. Just to reiterate what Cassie said about the propane situation in Carson, everybody concerned did a good job. There was no extreme problems where there could have been, and that's a good thing. Like Mike and Bill were discussing, Tony and I and Bill went down there one day, and then Mike and I went down there today. Between the 2 days, I think we accomplished a lot in each visit. Afterwards, like Mike had mentioned, Alex Herman is from Delaware Engineering. He's the engineering group out of Albany that are proposing a rehab of the existing structure and a new building, which could end up being a public referendum because of the expenditures. But the building is from when, Tony? 1972? 1972, so there'll be some public hearings, there'll be site visits at the property so the public can see that and see what we're looking at and what we have to do and what that would actually end up being out of each pocket of taxpayer in the town of Wawarsing. But it's definitely something that has to be done. Again, the salt shed looks great down there, and that's, we did that without any kind of, it was difficult, but it went and got in place prior to the winter, so that's a good thing also. The Ulster County government liaison that Mr. Brown has, and he shares with me, is something I started 4 years ago, and over the last 4 years, we've always talked about the town of Wawarsing being at the bottom of the county, and that we're never heard, never taken care of, never looked at. Well, over the last 4 years, and probably just prior to that, they started looking at us with the $1 million money from the residual money or whatever that the casino gave to the town of Ellenville and Wawarsing. But since in the last 4 years, there's been a lot of good relationships made at the county. Tim Wiederman, who used to work with Mike Hine on the rail trail, is now the economic development director. And I'm working with him very closely with Espresso Labs. The consultant, Mr. Pasolino from Galileo Technology, is really very, very deep into this project. And when we discussed the building department, Dennis Larios is the town engineer, and presently he's building a team to work with the building department because we have a very, very big project that we haven't seen in this area in many, many years, maybe decades. And it's imperative that a large scale group come in and assist the building department in this, for that type of project like this. And again, when you think about it, when you think that it's going to cost the town more money, it's not. It's the charges for the engineering company and the building assistants will be paid directly by the applicant. So that's very important to understand. And in the long run, I think it's going to really make for the idea of improving our building department. And all I say is improving, I mean increasing our staff. It's one of the only departments in the town that makes revenue. I mean, we're not out to make money off of people, but there has to be inspections. There has to be the whole process that's involved in the building department. again, I think this is going to be a very good thing. A lot of good things come out of these big projects, but this is one that's actually going to be directly affecting the smooth, orderly, system of the town hall, which we learn something from it. We get a business out of it. People get jobs. So, with the county, Tim Ruderman has done, and we've developed a relationship that is very worthwhile, and it's helping out the town of Wawarsing. And we'll be working with the county legislators, our individual reps down there, Craig Lopez and John Tavares, as well as all the other county legislators that are under different committees. Pat Ryan's office and the health department, over the last 4 years, we've had a lot of direct contact with these individuals and these agencies down there, which I don't think we had in the past, which I think is needed, and it's shown that it's been a benefit. Let's see. At this time, actually, one other thing with the county is the bridges. We've developed a relationship with the county in a lot of different ways, and Mr. Brendan Masterson is one of the people that's in charge of the bridges, right, Tony?
Yes.
And over the last year or so, the George Barthel Bridge, we've had calls from time to time about it being closed, and we persisted and kept talking to them. The county legislature got involved and made it a situation where it became their original plan to fix the roads in that area and close the bridge. Seemed to be, according to Mr. Masterson, a lot more money. So by talking to the county bridge authority, Tony and I, actually what they did end up doing is they're going to be reopening the bridge. And they're charting that, they had that slated for this year. So at this point, I think we'd like to make a motion. Somebody make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make it.
Paul makes the motion. Mike seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.